With this whole trilogy, the one thing that I was afraid of is like I don't know if they're going to be able to stick the landing. They do. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. Just to recap with the first two, I enjoyed 1994 a lot more than I did 78. But that is not to say that 78 was bad. It just took, for me, it took a minute to get to what I wanted from it. But I still enjoyed it. So that's where I was with the first two films. So what we get with Fear Street Part 3 is that Dina is transported into the mind of Sarah a few days to a week before her execution by hanging. And we see the steps, and we see that for the most part, she's a regular girl. Most people seem to like her. She's delivering pigs, but using knives. People enjoy her time. Men have an affinity for her, but she has her eyes on one particular girl, and so that sort of leads into what causes the trouble here. We've seen in a lot of these old school type of films, when you're placing it there, specifically the witch one, where you're like, oh, these people are witches. The claim or what is needed to prove someone to be a witch is very minimal, and that ball gets rolling. There's really no way to stop it. Sarah and Hannah have affection for each other, and they are caught uh, caught making out in the woods by a townsperson, and this townsperson goes and starts telling people, and that just causes all kind of hell. Hannah's mom was already sort of on to it, and she didn't really say anything until it got out, but really didn't want her daughter around there. Well, basically, curses started happening around that same time. So while they get caught, the buzz starts going around. They start telling everybody. People start telling everybody, I'm like, oh, they might be lesbians or whatnot, which is apparently a problem, huge problem, in 1666. But while that is going on, there's a curse that like one of the townspeople's parents, Hannah's, I believe, her father takes kids into a church and just plucks out all their eyes and his, and he is then hearing Sarah screaming and is about to go attack her, and then he is killed. And so this town has lost a lot of their young folks, and they want answers. They want answers to what's going on, and so they point and be like, "Hey, you're a witch, and you're a witch too." And so the girls have to sort of take off and run, and it becomes this thing where Hannah gets caught, and Samantha keeps going. But Samantha, in her attempt to escape, sort of starts finding out more clues as to what's really going on. And so the whole point of this 1666 story is basically Samantha uncovers who's really behind the curse on Sarah Fears and the whole death and what everything that has transpired. It is not as cut and dry. I won't spoil it. I'll let you guys watch it, but it is not as cut and dry as you would have believed. But based on that, we get that information, and then we go back to what is essentially Fear Street Part 4, 1994 Part 2. So, and we even get a codex or a stylized graphic that sort of differs between the two parts of the movie. And so we spend in the back end of this movie in present day. And sort of trying to figure out and with this new knowledge try to set up and get people on board so that now that we have these clues to solve the puzzle and hopefully give Sarah some sort of peace in this long-term curse that she has put on whomever it is who has cursed this and put her in this situation. I will say this is fun. This I wound up about halfway through, and once we got to the 94 stuff, I'm like, oh, this all came together way better than I thought it was. It's a really well done trilogy, and I will be in my watch now that I have all three. I will be watching them together as one big film because I think this really works, and I think some of the hesitation that I had for 78 will go away now that I sort of have everything together And some of the pieces that I thought were super slow in 78 will make more sense once you have the reveal of who actually is behind everything. It all plays together well. But it is a really well done story that I enjoyed. I know people have definitely been going out there and ranking the Fear Street movies now. Based on, I mean, you can kind of tell how I feel, but based on everything, 94 is still my number one, but 1666 is just right there with it. And then 78 is last. But it's not a huge gap between them. And there's actually a possibility that 1666 could move up. Anytime a movie spends more time with the characters and kind of getting me to care and believe in them, and just seeing the two of Hannah and Sarah side by side holding hands when she makes the decision to sacrifice herself so that Hannah can live, it's heartfelt. It's rough, and so it's kind of like, oh, this is the key point to make all this other stuff work. Well done. That's what I needed to see. So I think this was a fun ride. I think people should be watching these. I think I would like to do this again. If we're doing these type of filming it all as one big thing and then splitting it up into parts and giving it to me weekly, I'll take it again. I'll do that. So on my scale of once is enough, play it again, Sam, or give me a time stone, this is play it again, Sam. And this actually play it again, Sam goes for the entire series. I think now that we have them all, you should watch them all, binge them all, and then let me know what your order is. Leave your order in the comments below, and leave your thoughts about this film, 1666, and the rest of the other two as well in the comments also. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI, or you can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name. That's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. This week we'll be talking about Space Jam and the Space Jam franchise. And we also have a spin-off series called Marvel Pair-Ups with our guest host, Jamie Jurek, where we'll be talking about Loki and then a time-traveling movie that sort of pairs up with it. But you can find that also where podcasts are and here on YouTube as well. But like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.